our first Tuesday talk of the semester. We have one every Tuesday evening for the most part. This is a general welcome back and a reorientation. It's probably one of our longest presentations because it goes over a ton of information. And since we're starting a little bit later, I'm going to kind of fly through the first few slides here so we can really focus on some of the information that James is going to share with us, as well as Daisy, about career services and financial aid. And then we have some next steps at the end too. Actually have an agenda slide as well, but so the Tuesday Talk series are really focused on adult learners, and that could be returning students, returning to Wayne State, those in our Worry Your Way Back program, Phoenix Grand Entry students, transfer students, justice impacted students, military affiliated students, as well as first generation students. So a lot of different populations represented today. This is the agenda that we're going to go over. I'm going to skip the introduction since we're short on time. But please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. If you have any questions as we're moving along, drop those in the chat or just interrupt me. That's fine too. And we can be sure to respond to those as quickly as possible. We have some really good folks in the room today. So I think that we're going to be well situated to answer most of your questions. So my name is Amber Neer. I am the advisor for the Worry Your Way Back program and generally for adult learners on campus. Chloe Lundeen is also here. If you want to wave. She's our adult learner liaison and our peer mentor. We used to have an adult learner advisor, but she's leaving. So we're going to be getting a new person soon here. And James Hearn is our career coach. So everyone here today. And we'll all have a chance to talk as we're moving through. Hi, James. So we're going to skip this part, but I want to talk about our paths to returning to Wayne State first. So we'll go over Worry Your Way Back, which is our debt forgiveness program, the Phoenix Ranch program, which is our GPA forgiveness program, transfer applicants, freshman applicants, and returning students, which we also call stop outs. So everyone's going to fit into one of these categories, maybe even more than one. Worry Your Way Back is generally the one that I get most questions about. So I want to spend some time talking about the requirements for that program and what you can expect. So to qualify for Worry Your Way Back, the debt forgiveness piece, students need to have a cumulative GPA of at least a 2.0 or higher from Wayne State, a balance of $1,500 or less due to Wayne State. And if you're above $1,500, you can pay it down to qualify. You need to be away from the university for at least 2 years. You cannot have a housing hold. You have to work on your first bachelor's degree, and then you complete a Worry Your Way Back application. So that's how you get cycled into our workflow, where we review you for all those criteria. Usually you get a response within a day or two. We try to get in there pretty frequently, and you'll get like an auto reply instructing you about your next steps, which is usually to schedule an appointment with me so we can get the ball rolling there. Sometimes we can be a little bit flexible in the 2.0 GPA, but we can never be flexible in the $1,500 balance. So just something to note as you're moving through this. So as I mentioned, students who join the Worry Your Way Back program as part of their onboarding, they meet with me to have a more holistic review of their academic plans going forward, talk more about how the program works. We'll also complete the Worry Your Way Back financial agreement as well as the Worry Your Way Back advising agreement. I'll provide that to you. The advising agreement is something that you'll complete with your department advisor. Includes a plan of work, goes over more of the academic requirements for the program. So these are the requirements for the program. While you are a Worry Your Way Back student working on those earning that debt forgiveness, you must maintain a 2.5 term GPA, a C or better in each course, at least 6 credits each semester, 3 consecutive semesters. Spring, summer isn't required though. So if you're thinking, you need to do fall, winter, and then the following fall, or you can do spring, summer if you'd like. You need to meet with an advisor at least twice a semester. So that could be with me twice a semester. It could be with your department advisor twice a semester, once each. There's a lot of different kinds of advisors on campus. We just want to make sure that you meet with the ones that are going to be most beneficial to you. So it's up to your discretion who you want to meet with 2 times. Like I said, it's really an opportunity for you to get some face time with an advisor, talk about how things are going, and find some solutions. You can only take courses that are specifically listed on your advising agreement. And that's just so that we can ensure that you're not taking courses you don't need to graduate. Not that anyone would do that on purpose, but We do want to be sure that you're only taking courses you need for graduation, so we're not wasting time and money on courses you don't need. The other piece is that you cannot accrue a new balance. So you need to stay on top of your current balance as you're moving through courses. The Worry Your Way Back program is a debt forgiveness program. We don't provide any funding for upcoming courses. So that's why working with Daisy on financial aid is going to be really important, so you are sure that you have the funding in place before you commit to your courses. Any questions so far?
How long do you have to pay off a semester? Do you have until the next semester begins?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're talking about, so some of these things can be a little bit flexible depending on some different situations. But so if there's something that you're worried about, talk to me one-on-one about it, and we can see what we can do.
Okay.
You don't want to penalize anybody. We really want to make this work for as many people as possible while maintaining some standards too.
Amber, isn't it true that if you use the semester to pay your balance off, you'll pay some fees if you're not enrolled in the payment plan?
You're really quiet. Were you asking about taking a semester off?
No, I'm sorry. I'll speak up a little bit. I just
Okay.
will say, isn't it true that if you use the semester to pay off your balance, that you'll accrue some late fees? So it's best to set up a payment plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely recommend students do a payment plan on the front end for their new tuition and fees. So you can't really go on a payment plan for your past due balance that we're working on paying down through this program. But when you register for your new semester, we strongly advise you to consider a payment plan so you don't get behind on your balance.
How much is fees usually?
That's different for everybody. It's
Okay.
a lot of different things.
Okay.
So how the Worry Your Way Back debt is forgiven. So this piece is really important because it can be confusing as you're moving through the program. But really, we forgive your Worry Your Way Back debt in thirds over the course of 3 academically successful semesters. So most folks join the program with a maximum balance of $1,500. So we'll forgive $500 each semester for 3 semesters. So that balance is still technically on your account until you complete all 3 of those semesters. We just are removing the hold associated with that balance so that you can register for classes and you can start working towards that debt forgiveness. So that can be a little bit confusing when you're looking at accounts. And if you have any questions about that, you can always reach out. But just, know that it's not forgiven immediately once you're accepted into the program. It does take 3 semesters to forgive it, unless you're graduating sooner than 3 semesters. So if you're in your last semester and you only have that left, we'll just forgive the entire balance when you graduate. Does anyone have any questions about how that works? Okay. Now, the other academic program I want to talk about is our Phoenix Reentry program. That's the GPA forgiveness program. So the Phoenix Reentry program, to qualify for that one, you need to be part of, well, each college has their own Phoenix program. The one that we work with most closely is the College of Liberal Arts and Science Phoenix Reentry program, but the business school has a similar program, so does CFPCA. So you would work with your individual college if this is something that you're interested in. But generally, the qualifications are the same. So you need to be excluded or on probation. So that means your GPA is below a 2.0. You need to have been away for at least 3 years, have no financial balance. So that means you cannot do Worry Your Way Back and Phoenix at the same time. And like I said, you'll work with your individual college to complete a Phoenix application. The other piece I wanted to mention about Phoenix too, so how that GPA forgiveness works is you'll complete a minimum of 12 credits while you're in the Phoenix program. And those are credits you would take anyway towards your major. So they're not like extra things that you need to do to graduate, but they're classes you'll need anyway towards your program. Assuming you do well in those 12 credits, that means a C or better in each course. Those 12 credits form the basis for a new GPA. So your previous grades, in most cases, aren't going to be contributing to your cumulative GPA at Wayne State anymore. So it's a good way to get out of that below 2.0 threshold, which can be challenged to kind of like dig out of if you have several semesters of below a 2.0. There's also transfer students. So this is going to be someone who has never attended Wayne State University. So sometimes students will have attended Wayne State 10, 15 years ago, 5 years ago. They leave, take some classes at a community college, and then they come back. That's not technically a transfer student. You're just a returning student with transfer credits. So that's important for like financial reasons too. So you're not eligible for the same scholarships in that case. And you're just classified differently in our system. So a transfer student is somebody who's never attended Wayne State. You have at least 24 transferable credits of previous college work outside of Wayne State. And you need to have a minimum 2.5 cumulative GPA from all higher education institutions you've attended. Unless you complete an associate's degree, then you can have a 2.0. So if that's the case with you, you'd complete a transfer application. Any questions? We also have some really great transfer students support services on campus, or a transfer student success center. There's some advisors over there who can help you navigate through the application onboarding cycle. And then we work closely with Doug Peacock, who is a transfer advisor as well. So if that's the case, or if you have any questions about your transfer credits, let me know and I can connect you with this team. And then there is a freshman applicant, which is, or a first year applicants. That's somebody who's never attended Wayne State or any other college, but you've earned a high school diploma or a GED, and you would also complete an application for admission there. So for some students, this can be confusing, especially if it's been, you know, a long time, like 20 years since you attended attended high school. So that's when it's important to work closely with our admissions team so they can help you find that information, locate that diploma, especially in some situations where maybe those schools don't exist anymore. And then the population we work most closely with are our returning students, what we call stop-out students. Those are students who had previously registered for courses at Wayne State and are now returning. So that could have been 2 years ago, it could have been 20 years ago. I've had students come back from as far back as the 60s who want to complete a degree. So we work with all of those students to help you get onboarded and get everything in place that you can be successful and graduate. You may or may not have taken classes elsewhere in the meantime, so maybe taken some transfer credits. You don't need to apply for admission to the university. You have to do the returning student record update form, but you can just reach out to us. We can help you navigate through that process. So I say once you're a Wayne State student, you're pretty much always a Wayne State student, so you never need to apply again. Now we're going to go over some resources to help you succeed as an adult learner. So some specific things that our Adult Learner Success team provides to adult learners. So we do provide wraparound advising support. A lot of the work we do is connecting you with your department advisor, any other supplemental advisors, so you can make sure you're getting the best information possible in choosing courses, mapping your plan to success. Especially for Warrior Way Back students, we provide targeted financial aid support, which Daisy's going to talk about in just a moment. Also career services support, that's James's area of expertise as our designated career coach. We have programming, so every Tuesday evening we have these sessions. It's different every week. So 5:30 to 6:30 virtual programming on a variety of topics that are really helpful to adult learners. If there's some programming you'd like to see, please reach out to us and let us know. We're always looking for new ideas. And Chloe's going to talk about some other opportunities we have with our adult learner student group as well. And then of course, community building, which is all of these activities that we provide to you as adult learners. If you want to be part of our adult learner student group, these Tuesday talks, we're building some spaces on campus. So any way to connect with adult learners, that's something that we want to support. So what does adult learner advising mean? Well, as I mentioned earlier, that means referrals to campus resources. So your department advisor, if you are a veteran or military affiliated, we can refer you over to AMVE. And we provide some specialized service to justice impacted citizens, transfer credits, and also with our ASC, which is our Academic Success Center for academic and study skill development. So there's a lot of resources available on campus that may not have been here when you were last here. So things that can help you navigate that transition from Blackboard to Canvas. student disability services, things like that. Just help reacclimating to the university, getting back into the groove of taking courses. We're here to advocate for your success as a student, whatever that looks like. We know that can be a lot different than working with, students who are 18, 19. You just have a lot of different priorities, a lot of different things going on as an adult learner, and we want to support you there. And of course, we provide a variety of academic expertise, navigating back to university and through to graduation. Oh, when I left Laura on here, she is, as of tomorrow, her last day, our adult learner advisor. And then Chloe and I also work on the academic piece. So now I'm going to pass over to James. James, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So these are the same slides from last time. So just let me know when you're ready to click through and I'll
Sure. Go ahead, advance it, please. Okay, just wanted to say, guys, welcome, guys. And as Amber said, that we pride ourselves on total wraparound services. So my area of expertise is dealing with adult learners regarding the resources of the career services at Wayne State University. A lot of times individuals do not understand or know that we have a wide variety of resources and tools to help our students connect ultimately with a job. That's the whole goal of coming to college and getting a degree. And you want those services and support, training, resume writing, interviewing, things like that, and professional networks to help you ultimately get the job that you desire. So the one thing is, when you enter the program, you may receive an email from me to introduce myself as the career coach and have an opportunity to have a conversation and begin your journey. During this journey, we're going to plan and manage your goals. At that time, throughout this whole process, while you're here at Wayne State, even after you graduate, you will have opportunities for career counseling. Now, one of the services that we provide, one of many, is cover letters, resumes, references, and thank you letters. Anything dealing with career planning and counseling, that's our area of expertise. And also, one important thing is you want to be abreast of the latest techniques regarding job search techniques, interviewing skills, anything dealing with employee-related questions and more. A lot of times as adult learners, you may have been working in the field, or you may have been out for quite some time, and things have changed as far as requirements for resumes and interviewing. So our job is to take our adult learners, no matter your age or expertise or lack of experience or whatever, our job is to fill in the gap and help you. So when you are actually interviewing for that job that you've been preparing for through your academic process, is to help obtain those professional goals. So we can go to the next slide, please. For opportunities. The main thing is, ultimately, we want to connect you as an adult learner with partners and employers that really want to interact or looking for adult learners. A lot of times adult learners have expertise, work experience that employers look for. So our job is to try to match the two. And we have some professional development workshops, presentations, resume writing. There's a host of activities and networks for adult learners designated for your area of expertise to help you. Ultimately, if you realize maybe I need a little help in interviewing skills, we have something for that. Maybe you need a little assistance in resume writing, we help with that as well. Maybe you want to find out about our networks, professional networks that's on campus, we help with those out. Our job is to ensure when you meet, especially when you meet with me in my department, is to give you everything that you need. And these services are to you, given to you as a Wayne State student. So we want to strongly encourage you to, begin with a conversation. And we can have that conversation, and very flexible. We meet in person, we meet on Zoom, via phone. We have weekend opportunities, appointments available after school or after work. But our goal is, as a complete adult learner team, we're here to service you. And our job, we understand family, other obligations, and you need that flexibility. And that's what we come in at. So for career development and professional employment, that's ultimately what we do. Okay. Our website, you have a chance, please take this down. Send me an email, and it begins there. And I believe, that's the saying because I'm at Wayne State, but we have a truly comprehensive website that has everything that you need. From, like I said, if you want to have mock interviewing opportunities, it has that as well. You actually interact with artificial intelligence software ask you specific questions that's industry related, have you have opportunity to practice those questions. And then you can actually tape yourself, record yourself, and respond to those questions. Also, career readiness tools. If resume, put the information in. We have the software that will actually create the resume for you, tailoring it to your specific needs. Job seekers, if you're looking for employment opportunities right now or later, we have what's called Handshake. It's our version, a college version of Indeed. Link you on as a Wayne State student, and you have access to employers. I'm talking about hundreds of employers that's looking for students. My contact information is above. You see my Wayne State email address and phone number. Easy way to contact me is through my email address. Just begin with a conversation. Just reach out to me, and we can set up a time, and then we can walk this journey together. Okay. If you got any questions, I'll stay on and be more than happy to answer.
Thanks, James. And we all work pretty closely together, referring back and forth. So when you interact with one of us, you really interact with the team. So Daisy, I'll pass it over to you now and let me know when you'd like me to progress through the slides.
All right, I was trying to unmute myself. All right, well, thank you, Amber, and good evening, everybody. My name is Daisy Cordero. I am a financial aid administrator from the financial aid office here at Wayne State, and I'm going to share some very, not in-depth information because Amber is so kind to do a lot of financial aid Tuesdays talks, and special things happen during those sessions. So, but I am going to talk about just the generic financial aid information pertaining to Wayne, which is going to be pertaining to you. So if you have any questions, you can ask them while I'm doing the presentation, because that way you will not forget. Okay, and it's fine. It's a small audience, so it's not like we have 200 people, everybody asking the same question. So please feel free to ask any questions, or you may put them on the chat if you don't feel like, talking. But either way, I'm here to serve you and to assist you with any financial aid concerns you may have. Okay, Amber, let's get the party started.
Can you see the screen,
All
Daisy?
right. Yep, I can see the screen. All right. And it's always the same question. What is financial aid? And I'm sure all of you know what financial aid is, but a lot of people have a confusion that financial aid is just free money. It's not. We have grants, we have scholarships. These are funds that do not have to be repaid. We have student loans and work study. The loans is, as you know, money that we borrow to pay for our schooling, but that money has to be repaid. And the funds come from the federal government, or you can borrow what we call an alternative loan, which comes from private sources. Now, I'm going to put a plug in here right now. We've all heard that the administration, the President of the United States is, he made the announcement that there will be some loans forgiven, not for students who have signed up for the loan forgiveness program that was in place for a little while, but, loans from a while back. If you are a Pell recipient, they're supposed to forgive $20,000. And if you are not a Pell recipient, they'll forgive $10,000, and it depends on your income. However, there's a caveat to all of this. The president doesn't have the authority to do this. We just got a word, it's the Congress. So now they're fighting that fight in Washington. We know nothing more. I'm just sharing what I heard today, but I'll fell off my chair. But, in my head, I'm thinking, if this wasn't supposed to happen, why did you tell people it was supposed to happen. But I don't know the intricacies. It's political. So I'm just telling folks here, wait and see what other guidance and what other information comes out of the Department of Education from, because it's from the president to our Department of Education, the federal Department of Education, and then see what happens. Meanwhile, you're here with us. So if you need to borrow or you need to do X, Y, and Z, just do what you need to do as far as your financial aid is concerned so that you can finish what you started. Okay, I just want to get that one out of the way. Work study are job opportunities within the university to earn money. You have to have a need. In other words, there's still funding that the university has not given you because we don't have the money or because the loans have been awarded to their max, and the Pell, if you're eligible, has been awarded to your max. So, and then there's still monies that, in other words, if your cost of attendance, what costs to come to Wayne State, you're not living on campus. Okay, so the number looks huge when you get your award letter. Just look at tuition and fees and then move forward from that. If you're living on campus, it's a whole different story, okay? But you just want to take a look at tuition and fees. So if you find a job on campus, James would be fabulous to, help you with, because you have to get a through handshake, put your resume out there and then make the request. I don't know exactly how Career Services does it, but they manage the program as far as finding the students a job. And you can work 6 hours up to 20 hours a week. It's a good opportunity if you can do it. Most of us most of the adult learners have their own jobs. So this is kind of I'm just, talking a little bit about it in case there's somebody interested. Next, please. All right, so the first thing you want to do is, well, wait a minute, how much is this going to cost me? Because remember that many of the adult learners, Worry Your Way Back, except I'm just going to use the word adult learners. When we step out and come back to the university, it's like a new place. It's like what happened when I left here 4 years ago. It wasn't like this. So what happened? And of course, the tuition has inflated in a horrible way. So because when you left here, if you left here 2014 and you look at your bill now, two different stories. Okay, so you have to ask the question, what will it cost? All right, when you look at your bill after you've enrolled, you're going to look at tuition and fees, standard fees or extra fees that you may have. Those are going to be covered by financial aid if you have financial aid. That's what the bill is going to include. If you are living on campus, it'll include on-campus housing and a meal plan. But you have to pay out of pocket your books and supplies 9 times out of 10, unless you have a book voucher, which a book voucher is excess financial aid that you may have. Okay, that's where we get the book vouchers numbers from. Transportation is on you, rent, meals, cell phone, and parking if you're not living on campus. Those are indirect costs. So for us, for you, what you need to look at is, what are my tuition and fees right now for the fall semester? Okay, next, please. All right, so when we look at the financial aid, the entire financial aid programs, we have a couple of players here. We have, number one is you, because you're paying for your education one way or another, right? Number two is the university. They will, out of their own coffers, out of their own donations and donors and people who love us, okay? We will have some funds to share with our folks, with our students. Then we have Michigan, which is right now dry totally. We used to have a Michigan adult grant, which was phenomenal, and something happened and they went broke, and so that's gone. But the federal government still gives out the federal Pell Grant, and the loans. The Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant is usually for freshman students, but sometimes when we have a dire need, our director, she saves, she's trying to spread the joy, but always leaves a little bit behind for some needs. And I'm constantly begging for money for our students who are graduating and they don't have help for that last leg of the journey. She will then say, Daisy, submit a request for additional funding. I have a couple now that are on queue, waiting to be told, yes, they have it, no, they have it. But I think my gut tells me that we are going to get money for these couple of students because we want you to graduate. That's our job. We want to support you. We've sold you a bill of goods. It's called education. Now we have to help you get what you came here to get, right? So, we will work with our students to the best of our ability. And then we have the federal loan program, which are direct loans, the subsidized loan and the unsubsidized loan. The Parent Plus loan does not, that's not for adult learners. That's for parents of students who are coming in. And then, of course, there are the private loans that don't fall under the federal loan program. Most of you have already borrowed. Some of you have borrowed the max, which is for an independent student is $57,500 and have used up your Pell. So we need to have a conversation about how we're going to be able to help you to complete your classes while you're at Wayne State, because that's why we brought you here, right? So we need to have a conversation. There are other ways. There's a payment plan. There are other ways that that we can discuss. But before you do anything about enrolling or doing this or doing that, we need to know how this is going to be paid, because coming back is sometimes a little bit of a shock. All right. And so Amber's team is trying to make it smooth, the ride or the walk or whatever we want to call it, make it a little bit smooth, but sometimes it's a little bit hard. So on top of that, we don't want you to be worried about finances, because that's a biggie. So my job is to try to help you to the best of my ability. Okay. I can't always give you what I would love to give you. I can't promise things that I can't deliver. But I can tell you that we will try our best in our office. If you're graduating and you need help, I'll get on my knees if I have to ask for money for everybody here. Okay, so I want you to understand that. Okay, next, please. So the annual limits for direct loans, everything has a limit, for dependent students is $5,500 if you're a freshman. But those are all for dependent students. So I want to zero in on the independent students, $9,500 for freshmen. And I'm sure that there are very few freshmen in the audience. And then for sophomore status, $10,500. That's for the entire academic year. Everything is divided between fall and winter. And then for juniors and seniors, it's $12,500. So everything is divided. Everything that you get at Wayne, including the scholarships, divided between fall and winter, unless we get a donor who insists that the scholarship be given to a student in one semester. And I have a good story. This is a graduate student, but excuse me, she applied for our private scholarships at the beginning of October. You file the FAFSA and you apply for scholarships, right? So she applied for a scholarship. She got it. However, she had to be full-time. So for the winter semester, for the fall semester, she's thinking, well, wait a minute, I'm graduating in December. I can't take any more than 4 credits. That's the half time for a graduate student. So what do? So they sent me a case. It wasn't meant for me, but I got it. So when I get it, I'm going to do something about it. So what happens? She says, Daisy, I called her up on the phone and she says, Daisy, I've got a real problem. This scholarship is for one semester. It's for fall and winter, and it was $1,200. It's a $1,200 scholarship. I'm graduating in December. I don't need anything else but 4 credits to graduate, and I don't know what to do. She was almost in tears. So, I did what I usually do. I go out begging. And I called the College of Education, spoke to an associate dean there, a very kind, wonderful person. He sent the email to the scholarship person, and lo and behold, okay, so they took away the scholarship that was for full-time, and they gave this young woman the $1,200 for one semester. I mean, this was like a miracle. You should see in my face. I couldn't believe it. I said, thank you, Lord. If I had not asked and begged, many times I get told, no, Daisy, we don't have any money. Fine, I'll take it. But I'm also going to take the risk and the chance to say, look, this student, and I've done that twice. So there's another Worry Your Way Back student who I did the same thing. And lo and behold, she got the scholarship for half-time, because she's half-time, right? Because she's graduating in December. So I got that from her, but I just asked. If we don't ask, we will not know. So please, please, whenever you have questions about, I don't have any money, blah, blah, I know you contact Amber or Chloe, and then they send me emails or whatever. That's a good way to do it, because if you go to the Welcome Center and you're Worry Your Way Back and you're graduating, and they see that you don't have any money, they don't know the background of what's happening here. So they usually say, well, I'm sorry, you have to get a payment plan, blah, blah. So I always appreciate Amber and Chloe sending me emails about certain situations that I can't always fix, but I can certainly try to fix. So if you're running out of money, you're graduating, please let Amber and Chloe know. And then they will contact me, or you can email me directly. And then again, I will ask for money to help you, because many of you have used the 57.5 and the limit for the loans, and you don't have any money left. So, and you need maybe 3 classes or something, 1 semester, and it would be a shame not to help you if that's what's happening. Okay, so please don't be afraid to ask. Next, please. All right. Defaulted loans are a real problem, okay? But now the government has done something wonderful that the Congress didn't have anything to do with. If you have a defaulted loan, there is a new program called Fresh Start. It's fabulous. What happens is you call the Department of Education at that number that I have on this slide. You tell them you have a defaulted loan and you would like to go back to school and finish what you started back in 2016. Then they will say, okay, we're going to put you in a rehabilitation program where you are going to have a plan of making 6 on-time consecutive payments of $5 a month. Once you sign the paperwork to do that, then they will immediately, the Department of Education will send you a letter and send us a copy saying this student is part of the Fresh Start program. They are in default, but we are allowing them 1 full year to go back to school, and the default flag will be removed from their account so that they can have Pell if they're eligible, and they can have their loans reinstated for that full year. So what happens is, for that full year, you don't make any payments. But after that full year is done, you go back to making the $5 payments. And then until you pay 9 consecutive months, and then they will defer your loans. They'll go into deferment. So it's an excellent, I love this program. It's a very, very good program. And I already have received a few letters from some of the Worry Your Way Back students that we admitted last year, and they're on their way. It takes a little bit of time because there's a little bit of they put a little bit of obstacles in front of us in the financial aid office, but it's doable. So please, if anyone here is in that situation, contact the Department of Education. They're jumping to help our students get their education. That's the main thing of the Department of Education. They want people to finish what they started, and they're willing to help. So please do not hesitate. And if you need to email me to ask me any questions or whatever, please do that. Always keep a copy of everything you receive from the Department of Education and email them to our office, or bring them in person. Any document that says you're no longer in default. Okay. So next, please. The annual Pell limits, a lot of the adult learners have used up their entire Pell because they've been here a long time and they only need 1 or 2 semesters to graduate, okay, or maybe 1 full year. So, but the amount of Pell that you can receive for 1 year is equal to 100%. So it's a full-time. We will give you the 100%, 50% for the fall, 50% for the winter semester if you are enrolled full-time, which is 12 credits. If you are enrolled less than full-time, the Pell will adjust, okay? So if your half-time is 25%, less than half-time, 12.5%, that's based on a 0 expected family contribution. In other words, you have no money to contribute towards your education. So, and when you file the FAFSA, if you still have Pell eligibility, we will do that automatically. You don't even have to ask us. We will do that and we'll accept that for you automatically. It's the only, we accept scholarships and the grants automatically. Anything else, you know, like loans, that has to be, in college work study, that has to be accepted by the student, right? Next, please. The lifetime loan limits for undergraduate dependent students is $31,000, okay? Undergraduate independent students, $57,500. No more than $23,000 can be subsidized loans. This amount has been like this. My goodness, I've been at Wayne for 29 years. It's been like this for about 12 years. We used to give freshmen $26.25, including adults, independent students coming in, which that at that time covered, you know, more than it does now. So the financial aid community screamed loud. We made a plea to the Department of Education, please, what is somebody going to do with $26.25 even then? So they raised it now a little bit more. You know, it's at $57.5, that's it. Then you stop, you can't receive any more. Now, if this loan forgiveness goes through, because I asked everybody, I called our national organization, I called the Department of Education. If it goes through and the government pays $20,000 or $10,000 of your loans, and you come back here as an adult learner and you need extra money, you can reborrow. It's not going to prevent you from reborrowing. So, I mean, I'm not pushing all these loans, but if it's between you getting your diploma and borrowing, oh my goodness, you know, you got to do what you need to do. And then, you know, you got to pay those back, you pay them back. You choose a payment plan that's comfortable, and then that's what you do. Hopefully by that time you'll have a job and things will look, you know, better. So next, please. The lifetime, I already said the lifetime Pell limits is 600%. And there's some examples there. If Gabriela is enrolled full-time for 2 years at Wayne and receives a Pell for both years, she will have used 200%. She will have 400% remaining. And you know, the same thing with the other example. Jacob enrolled half-time for 3 years. He's used only 150%, so he'll have 450%. This is all calculated automatically. So when you file the FAFSA, this is done for us in the financial aid office. Thank you, Lord, because this is a horrible, to do this manually is a bear. You know, when I started working here, we used to do the loans on paper.
Oh my God.
Paper. And paper FAFSAs. There were about 26 pages of, it was horrific. But the paper checks, and then we would mail them to the students. It was weird. It was, I couldn't believe it. But now we've come a long, long, long way. We just need more money to give out to students and not loan money. But anyhow, so this is how the Pell works. So if you're eligible for the Pell because you were part-time and you left 2014, 2015, that Pell is yours, okay? And it's increased, so it's a good thing to have. Next, please. All right. So my contact information, that's my email, ad6324@wayne.edu. That's my direct phone number. The phone is iffy because I'm usually here, there, and everywhere, and it's hard for me to answer the phone, but the email works well. Always, always, always add your Access ID to the subject line so I can find you right away. I may take a couple of days or more to answer. especially during the beginning of class, but I will always answer. Could be midnight, but I will always answer, okay? And if Chloe or Amber send me an email or a Teams or something, and for, you know, a communication, I'm on it because I know that it's desperate. All right. So, you know, I try to always be ready to help. Any questions? And of course, you can visit the Welcome Center. All right. I'm not the only financial aid officer there. I have 8 other colleagues. But the reason why I would like you to communicate with me, because if it's something that I know about and I can help you go back for money, I'd rather do that than pass it on to someone else. But, you know, you could always visit the Welcome Center with any situation you may have. My colleagues are very knowledgeable. They know financial aid as well as I do. So please feel free to do that. But always try to contact either Chloe or me or Amber, or, you know, if it's something that we really need to do, particularly if you're graduating and you need money, you have to contact me, or Amber will contact me right away to give you that push towards that diploma. Okay. Any questions about anything I have said tonight? Anything? And please, if you're not graduating this academic year, 22-23, if you're coming next fall, file the FAFSA October 1st and apply for scholarships. You just never know. Look at the 2 examples I gave you. You know, you just never know. And if you tell me, Daisy, I applied for a scholarship, but it's full-time, but I'm part-time, I could always ask the donors or the departments. It's not going to prevent me from doing that. Okay.
Thanks so much, Daisy.
You're very welcome.
It's always a good refresher, and Daisy's always, I love referring students to Daisy because, you know, I know she's working hard for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to fly through the next few slides because I do want to respect your time. Hopefully we don't go very much over here. I just wanted to highlight some other campus resources pretty quickly here. So student accounts receivable. So if you do owe a balance to the university, please reach out to student accounts receivable before you call like your collection agency or anything like that, just to get advice on the best way to make payments. Sometimes we can be flexible on like pulling things from collections, or if, you know, different ways you can make payments that might save some additional fees. So if you do have a balance, connect to student accounts receivable before you do anything. There's also your department or major advisor. Those are the advisors that help you choose courses and understand your degree requirements. So while we provide a nice layer of support here through the Adult Learner Success team, generally we can't suggest courses to you because that's very specific to each major. There's like over 100 majors on campus and we can't be an expert in all of them. There's also the Academic Success Center, what we call the ASC. If you've been in to see me and Chloe in our office, the ASC is located in that same space. So that's where we can do like peer assisted learning, tutoring. There's also like study skills counseling, a lot of really cool support to the Academic Success Center. So we try to highlight some of those in our communications as well. Student Disability Services is right across the hall. We usually have some sessions with them for our Tuesday talks as well. With Student Disability Services, be sure to register early so you can get your accommodations letter early. We don't want to wait till you're, week 6 to let anyone know that you need some accommodations where your grade is already affected. There's also the Dean of Students office. They provide a lot of different resources, but I like to highlight them for their laptop programs. So if you do not have technology at home and you need a laptop, I would encourage you to reach out to DOSO. That's the Dean of Students office. If you cannot do a class entirely through your phone or a tablet, so you do need to have laptop, Chromebook, something like that. Of course, you're always welcome to use our campus resources, but the Dean of Students can provide some support there. Also, our libraries. Libraries are a lot more than just books, especially with all of the new technology. We have some contacts over in the libraries to help you navigate through how to use like all of these databases, how to cite your sources, how to do research. We don't want you to inadvertently have a problem with plagiarism. I see that a lot with our returning students, completely unintentionally. So some really good support for research through our libraries. The Pre-Med and Health Science Centers, if you're thinking about a health track. So pre-nursing, pre-med, anything health related, I would encourage you to reach out to our Pre-Med and Health Science Center to get some support on how to apply to those programs, different things to keep in mind. And of course, the last one I have on here is our Transfer Student Success Center, the TSSC. So a lot of support for folks transferring from community colleges, universities, navigating through that space to Wayne State, or if you have questions about just transfer credits, they can help you with that as well. And then I just wanted to showcase some key takeaways here. So some key things to remember that we may not have touched on earlier. So there's an effective online learner Canvas course. This is a really great opportunity to get familiar with Wayne State online systems, which you'll need to use even if you aren't taking specifically online courses. So for example, like all of our courses are going to use Canvas, even if it's a Canvas course. So there's an effective online learner Canvas course that can introduce you to all of those things, how to use your email, how to use Zoom. I will send out a link to that if you haven't already seen it. There is a link specifically to enroll in that. It's free, it's self-paced. So even if your classes have started, it's not too late to take advantage of that. I'd say verify that your financial aid or other payment method is set for the semester. You don't want any surprises in week 12 that you owe a huge balance or that you didn't do something, you had to do a SAP appeal or something like that. Verify early. So, financial surprises are the worst surprises usually. So we want to avoid that if at all possible. Another piece of advice I have for you is to email your instructors with your Wayne State email to introduce yourself. This is just good practice for helping your instructors get to know you, especially as an adult learner. Let them know a little bit more about you, some other things you're doing in addition to school. You work 50 hours a week, you have kids, you're juggling a lot of different things. Your instructors generally want to know that about you, and they're going to be more willing to work with you moving forward if you ever need any kind of flexibility in your courses. And that Wayne State email piece is really important because a lot of instructors won't reply to personal email addresses. So get used to using your Wayne State email. Read all of your course syllabi. Do that early in the semester and add those key dates to your personal calendar so you can structure your time accordingly. And I always recommend that students schedule recurring study time each week, just like you would a class. Like I use every Thursday afternoon to study for 3 hours or whatever works best for you. Plan early. Remember to check in with an advisor at least twice a semester and register early. So mark your calendars. Halloween is when winter 2023 registration opens. It's so critical to register early, especially for our adult learners, because usually you're near the end of your program, which means you only have, a handful of courses left, and those are your only options. And those are the courses that also have like smaller course caps, so they fill up very quickly. So if you're near the end of your program, registering early is going to be really important. The same is true if you want to prioritize taking online classes. Online courses, those sections fill up very, very quickly. So the sooner you register, the better. Register for SDS now if you haven't already, and sign up for tutoring now. So if you're in any kind of mathematics-based course, and a lot of like the accounting courses, statistics courses, they have tutoring available. Those tutoring sessions fill up by the end of the semester. So it's important to get in early with the tutor and set up that schedule from the beginning. So even if you feel like you've got it, you're in week 1, you're just going to see how things go. I would say just do the tutoring now. Just get in the habit from the beginning of the semester. Use that tutor so you have that resource moving through. I also, on the next slide, Chloe's going to talk about our adult learner student group and to follow us on social media, which is going to round us out almost at the end here.
All right. Thank you to everybody who attended tonight's orientation. It was so nice to see your faces and chat with you a little bit. So I'll be brief. We do have a Facebook and Instagram page that I manage. I would encourage you to follow and engage with our pages there. You'll find a lot of information that was covered in the presentation tonight. Also, we are starting an adult learner student group. You can access the student group survey at that link provided there. And with that information, we will be creating meeting times and some programming around that. I'm going to be brief. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I left my email address in the chat.
Thanks so much, Chloe. Last thing I want to plug are the rest of our Tuesday talks for the semester. So we're here on 8:30 for a welcome back reorientation. Next week, we actually have a special session that's on a Thursday for the adult learner student group. And then after that, we have our financial aid basics, career services, campus health resources through September. So a lot of good things throughout the semester. Feel free to join us when you're able, and we're going to have recordings of all the sessions as well. These are the key contacts on campus. Most of them are the team that we've discussed here today. But I wanted to provide a couple others as well. So for instance, we had Daisy's contact information earlier, but here's my contact information. Jaime Lopez is our advisor for our military affiliated students over in AMVE. James is here, Chloe. Doug is the transfer advisor that I mentioned earlier. So great resource, especially if you think about transferring, we call reverse transferring. So taking a couple of transfer credits while you're still away in state students. Terrell Tops is our contact for our justice impacted students. Then Harper is our work study student, so you'll be getting some information from her as well. Of course, you're always welcome to reach out to any of us. We're always, like I said, we work pretty closely as a team, so we can always refer you accordingly. Clicking. That was my last slide, but it's not letting me progress forward. So I'm going to stick around for a few minutes if anybody has any questions. I'm happy to answer those for you. Otherwise, have a good evening and thanks for joining us today.